Okay, so in the last class we were looking at some blues, and before that some trad, and we were learning how to improvise and finding your way around note matrices in the right hand, and uh, improvising over sort of grids of rhythms and basic stuff really, but very necessary. So we're going to take it a little step further now and introduce some sight reading, so you can recognize notes rather than fall back on the basic scales, and which is fine, but you really need now at this stage to be able to pick out your notes and to use them. So basically we're going to use a blues scale here, and this is the way that it's written out. Now I've written all the notes, the corresponding notes above them, so that you're not going to get lost. It's the best way under the circumstance that I can think of doing it. So if you see this E here, I'm just going to make the page a little bit smaller so that we can see what's going on the keyboard too. So that E is this E. That G is that G. This A is this A. This C is that C. That D is that D. And then the D sharp is the same as E flat. Remember the black note? There it is. So rhythms as well, we're going to have to talk about that. There's not much point in playing notes without knowing how long you're going to stay in a note. So remember the last time we were talking about long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. Well, the short notes have a little tail on the top of them, like that. If you can see where my cursor is there. And the longer notes have no tail. They're just straight stems. So if you count 2 for that and 1 for that, 2 for that, 1 for that, 2 for that, 1 for that, and 2 for that, and 1 for that. Never mind A, G, A, C yet. I'm just going to explain the rhythms as they're written. So long, short, 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 long, short. That's the number 1. This is number 1 matrix here. So we're going long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. Again, we're grouped into 4 beats of long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. Now, if we put the pitch to them that's assigned above, you see the note names. It's A, G, G, A, C, C. A little bit slower actually would probably help. So A, G, G, A, C, C. As I'm explaining this to you, it's very worth noticing and commenting on notes that are lower and notes that are higher on these 5 lines and 4 spaces. So if we look at that A here, and then our next note is G, if you notice it's slightly lower on the lines, so it's slightly lower in pitch on our keyboard, which makes sense really. Next note is A again, so we go back from G back up to A, and now you can see there's a jump from A to C here, which is basically from here to here. That's A, C. So everything on the sheet or on your lines and on your spaces, if it's lower on the page, it's lower here. It goes from right to left, lower. and if it's higher on the page, it's higher on the keyboard. So you go this direction, left to right. I'm going to give another demonstration of what the keys look like. Let's just zoom in here so you can see. If you imagine, this is our middle C. This is where the green and the blue combine. And that's what it looks like on the page. We'll just make all these semi-briefs now so that it won't confuse you. Okay, there's a C. That's what it looks like on the page. D looks like this. E, F, G, A, B, and C. And we'll keep going on. D, E, F, G. Now we're starting to run out of space. So basically what happens is you start to invent lines that aren't written on the page. You have to write them yourself. So there's the first one called a ledger line. That's A again. B. And then the last one needs 2 lines. But you can see the logic to it. So now you have some idea of how the notes are named. We're just going to look at the blues scale here and follow our ideas matrix like we did the last time. It's the same notes: E, G, A, C, D, D sharp. There are 6 notes. The difference this time is we're going to be referring to the sheet more and more rather than just looking at the notes. So if you look at this A here, it's F, A, second line of the space, the second note of the spaces, A on the space. I'll just zoom in so you can see that better maybe. And we're going to go long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short on A, G, A, C. Long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. That's it. As simple as that. If I were going to play the next line, that low E is this note. It's your first note on the line, so there it is. The E after that, we're after playing it. It's the second one on the space. Or you could go E, F, G, A. You can count up like that, or you can remind yourself that it's the second note on the space, which is F, A of face. C is the third space, which is F, A, C, face. D is the next note, which you can either work out logically by saying C is right next to D and it looks higher on the page, or you can say to yourself, every good boy deserves, because it's the 4th line. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going back down to C. Notice how it drops here, and it drops again to A. 2 notes on the spaces. So hopefully you're getting some sort of an idea. I don't expect you to understand it perfectly straight away, but this is so that you'll eventually get the eureka moment. Reading about notes is fine, but it's like riding a bicycle. You have to be able to play them as well and make them musical to make them relevant. Otherwise, there's not much point in learning music. So if we go long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short with A, then long, short with G, long, short with A, long, short with C. So if we just remind ourselves where we are: long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. And don't worry about the notes of the left hand. I'm just going to play them to make it sound musical, so you know what I'm doing. Long, short, 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 long, short. Okay, now let's move on to another sequence. Okay, this is a good one. Number 6. Now we're looking at the notes on the page, and okay, we have long, short, 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 long, long, short. Remember, the note without the tail is a 2 count. It's a longer note. The note with the tail is a shorter note. 3 notes together like this are actually 3 short notes. They're the very same note value as this, except rather than writing them individually with their own tails, the tails are joined along the top like that. The reason why that is so that your eye can hold on to it better on the page. If you were to write everything individually, like notes with tails like that there would be just too much information on the page, and your brain wouldn't be able to unscramble all the notes and the information. When it's joined like that there, the note's able to recognise the 3 note values, the 3 shorter note values together, and deal with them rather than become confused. So again, this is going to be number 4 is another example of it. Short, 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 long, short. Now this one has a dot after it, which means you count 3 there. That's a 2 long. This is a 3 long. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then the last is 1, 2, 3. So again, we're dealing in 4 groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 2, and 3, 4, and I'm going to play it so it hopefully makes sense to you. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do it a lot slower than that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's think about this again. Relation to the first one we've played. This is an easier one to recognise because the sequences are long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. This has thrown things into the mix here. So has this. So you've got 3 short notes and a long note between the long, short, long, short. And you're allowed to do that because it's music, and in order to make something musical there has to be some variety in it. The balance between too much and too little variety is the whole key to what we're doing here, trying to improvise. So let's count number 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, and 3, 2, 3, 4, and long, long, short, long, long, short, long, short, long, long, short. I'll do that again. Long, 2, 3, long, short, long, 2, 3, long, short, long, 2, 3, long, short, long, long, short. So now maybe we're nearly at the stage of applying some of these little matrices, which is going to be your homework, or part of your homework, your assignment, we'll say. of improvising. You're going to try and sight read some of these and apply them to the keyboard when I'm doing the left hand. And at the end of the exercises, there's going to be an MP3 that you can play along to, so that you can play in your own time and repeat it over and over again until you get the hang of it. What I hope to do as well is you would combine one bar or one sequence like this here with an improvised sequence. So let's pretend you did number 1. 1, 2, 1. Sorry, I'll just count long, short. Long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. Now, the next bar, if I were to say, play whatever you want, or maybe random between 3 choices, let's say short, 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 all short notes every second bar, but you have to make up the notes, like long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, 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 like we did in the trad session, or the trad piece. If you mix up something that's written on the page that's concrete with something that's made up, something that's on the page that you have to read, something that's made up. Let's try that again. Number 1 again. Long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. Now let's make up notes, but let's go 4 long ones. Long, 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 long. They're all notes inside our scale as well. So let's do it again. Let's do number 1 mixed up with shorts. Long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. Now, this is the short bar, the short note bar. Short. So they're all short notes, one after the other. Random notes from the scale. This is what we need to be doing. So, let's try number 3. I'm going to play number 3. Okay, I'm going to play that again. E, A, C, D, C, A. If I play that over and over again, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's try number 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. C, D, D sharp, E, G, E. Long, 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 short, long, short. Long, 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 short, long, short. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's remind ourselves as well that these notes are all on the blues matrix that we learned. E, G, A, C, D, D sharp. They're all the notes that we're playing from. Now that. Okay, so number 5 is out. Okay, so let's look at number 5 as an example. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. They're all part of the blues matrix as well. Remember the scale. That's at the very beginning we learned. You can bring that D and bring it down here. You can bring the D sharp and bring it down here. There's no rules about sticking to the exact notes. You can start moving them around the keyboard. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's number 5. So a good project for you would be to take, let's say bar 6 here, or matrix 6, and combine it with your own improvisation. Play the 6 first. Long, short, 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 long. So that's enough for now. Look at these notes. Try and understand them. I'm going to have a video after this of them playing, so you know what they look like on the actual piano roll and on the sheet as they're playing. Just try and get familiar with those notes, because you are going to need to be able to recognize note values, note lengths, and then apply them in your improvisations. Okay, happy practicing. Hand exercise number 8. Okay, so I played the sequence twice there. I'm going to call out the fingers. 1, 2, 4, 5, 3, 4, 2, 3. 1, 2, 4, 5, 3, 4, 2, 3. Left hand. 5, 4, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4, 3. 5, 4, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4, 3. Okay. So, I'm just going to go from the beginning, both hands. That's the sequence. That's the sequence. And so on. And keep going. It's alright. Now, when we're going back down, we're doing 5, 4, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4, 3. And then the left hand we're doing 1, 2, 4, 5, 3, 4, 2, 3. Hands together. Next sequence. Next sequence. This is a good exercise. I can feel it in my own hands playing this. So this is well worth doing. Next sequence. Yes, very worth doing that exercise. Practice slowly. Pause at the end of each sequence. Make sure and you get your matrix of fingers correct at the beginning so that you have the sequence. You're not second guessing what you should be playing. Um, useful exercise.